Yalari sat behind her small table in the corner of the trade station's marketplace. Her hands were busy carving shapes into a metal panel. Around her, dozens of merchants shouted, bargained, and showed off colorful goods. But no one came near her table. She didn't speak. She didn't look up. She had learned not to. Most people on this station avoided her. Some even crossed the walkway just to stay far from her. Yalari was Drenari, a proud alien race known for strength, honor, and tradition. But she was also a widow, and among the Drenari, widows were not honored. They were forgotten. Her mate, a warrior, had died in battle 2 cycles ago. The elders blamed her, saying she brought misfortune. She hadn't even been allowed to attend his farewell ceremony. Since then, she lived in silence, earning a few credits by selling handmade tools. Her craft was sharp and precise, but no one cared. Suddenly, she heard footsteps slow down near her stall. That was rare. She looked up and saw a human man. He was tall in a dusty coat with worn gloves and a small datapad in one hand. His name tag read Cole. He looked at the tools on her table: multi-screwdrivers, energy clamps, and strange hybrid welders she had designed herself. "These yours?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "Yes." Cole picked one up. He turned it over in his hand, tested the grip, and looked at the carved edges. "This is really well made. You designed this?" "Yes," she replied, surprised by the calm in his voice. He gave a small smile. "I run a repair shop on the lower level. Most of my tools are junk, but this is solid work." Yalari didn't know what to say. Most people either ignored her or insulted her. This man sounded honest. He looked her in the eyes. "You got hands built for machines? If you ever get tired of sitting here, I could use someone like you." She blinked. "You want to hire me?" "I want good work." "That's all I care about," Cole said. He put the tool down, nodded politely, and walked away. Yalari stared at his back as he disappeared into the crowd. That night, she sat alone in her small room near the waste processing sector. It smelled of metal and oil. The lights flickered. She had only 1 meal cube left. She thought about the human's offer. Her people would not approve. A Drenari widow working for a human would be seen as shameful. But what life did she have now? Sitting at a market stall that no one visited, watching her savings disappear? She looked at her hands. Long fingers, strong but graceful. They were made for building, for repairing, for creating. Her mate had said that once, before everything changed. The next morning, she cleaned her tools, wrapped them in cloth, and left her table empty for the first time in months. She made her way to the lower level of the station. It was dimly lit and smelled of hot wires and old fuel. The signs were written in many languages, blinking slowly in neon colors. At the end of a long hallway, she found it: Cole's repair bay. The doors were open. Sparks flew from one corner. Music hummed in the background. Cole was hunched over a broken engine core, struggling with a jammed part. He looked up when she stepped in. "You came," he said, wiping his hands. "I thought about your offer," she replied. "Is it still open?" He grinned. "Of course, let's start small. Fix this clamp assembly for me." He handed her a bent, half-broken tool. Yalari studied it for a moment, took out her own gear, and started working. Her hands moved fast and smooth. Within minutes, the clamp was fixed better than before. Cole raised his eyebrows. "That's fast." She handed it back. "It should hold twice the pressure now." He chuckled. "You're hired." She worked quietly for the rest of the day. Cole showed her the shelves, the scrap pile, and the orders waiting to be filled. She repaired a plasma wrench, realigned a misfiring drone stabilizer, and even fixed a cooling coil on an old cargo droid. Customers came and went. Some gave her strange looks, but Cole didn't care. He treated her like any other worker, maybe even better. He offered her water, asked for her thoughts on certain tools, and didn't question her silence. For the first time in a long while, Yalari didn't feel like a ghost. When the day ended, she packed her things and walked back. Her steps were slow but steady. Her heart felt different, lighter, hopeful. But as she neared her building, she saw them, 3 Drenari males waiting by the entrance. They stepped forward, blocking her path. "You work for the human now," one said, voice cold. "He pays fairly," Yalari replied, careful. Another one stepped closer. "You dishonor your mate's memory." "My mate loved building things," she said softly. "He would have respected my choice." They didn't like that. One of them knocked the tools from her hand. They scattered across the metal floor. "Stay with your kind, widow," he spat, then turned and left with the others. Yalari stood there, breathing deeply. She didn't cry. She picked up her tools slowly, one by one. The final tool she picked up was the one Cole had tested, the one that had started it all. She held it tightly in her hand. She knew one thing now. She was not going back to the market. This was the beginning of something new. Yalari returned to Cole's repair shop the next morning. Her head held a little higher than before. Her shoulder still ached where one of the Drenari males had pushed her, but she ignored the pain. She had made a decision. Cole was already working. When she arrived, he looked up from under a hovering drone and smiled. "Good morning," he said. "Didn't think you'd come back after what happened yesterday." "I don't quit easily," Yalari replied. He tossed her a set of gloves. "Then you're exactly the kind of person I need." They worked quietly for the next few hours. Yalari liked the steady hum of machines, the smell of tools and circuits. The shop was messy, full of unfinished repairs and strange devices Cole had collected. But she saw potential in every piece of metal. Cole taught her some human designs she had never seen before. Simple, clever shortcuts that made her curious. In return, Yalari showed him how to repurpose Drenari parts into stronger frames. Together, they made a strange but efficient team. Later in the day, a tall alien with 4 arms entered the shop. "I need this welding unit fixed by tomorrow," he said in a sharp voice, dropping it loudly on the counter. Cole looked at the damage and whistled. "This one's seen better days, might take a full day." The alien looked doubtful, until Yalari stepped forward. "I can repair this," she said. The alien glanced at her, clearly surprised to see a Drenari woman working here. "You?" "Yes," she replied, already examining the unit. He shrugged. "If it's working tomorrow, I'll pay extra." The customer left. Cole leaned closer to her. "You sure you can fix that thing? It's completely burned through on one side." Yalari smiled faintly. "I like a challenge." She worked through the evening using some of her own tools and salvaging a few parts from broken machines in the back. Cole watched her with interest. "You work like you were born with a toolkit in your hand," he said. "My mate used to say that," she answered softly. Cole didn't press. He only nodded and brought her a warm drink made from human fruits. She accepted it, quietly grateful. By nightfall, the welding unit was working better than before. She had even added a cooling shield to keep it from overheating. When Cole tested the unit hummed smoothly. "I've been fixing machines for years and even I wouldn't have thought of that. You're amazing." Yalari didn't know how to respond. Praise was something she hadn't heard in a long time. "I'm not just saying that," Cole added. "If you want, this place could be your permanent job. Not just a few repairs here and there. You help me rebuild the whole shop, you'd be my partner." Yalari hesitated. "Your partner?" "Yeah. 50-50. I've got the business, but you've got hands that make miracles. We grow this together." Her heart beat a little faster. No one had ever offered her something like this. "I'll think about it," she said. Cole didn't push. "Take your time." She left the shop feeling unsure, but also hopeful. She passed through the lower decks quickly, her tools wrapped tightly under her arm, but someone was following her. She turned a corner and saw 2 Drenari males behind her. One of them had been there the night before. The same one who knocked her tools down. "You didn't listen," he said, stepping closer. "I don't belong to you," Yalari replied calmly. "You don't belong with the humans either," the second one said. voice full of anger. They tried to block her path. One grabbed her arm. Before they could do more, a loud voice shouted, "Hey, step away!" It was Cole, holding a large wrench, his eyes full of fire. The Drenari males backed off slowly. "Stay out of this, human." Cole didn't move. "She's my worker. You mess with her, you mess with me." They spat on the ground and left, but not before glaring at Yllari. She felt shaken. "You followed me?" she asked. "I saw them tail you," Cole said. Didn't like the way they were looking. She looked away. "I can handle myself." "I know," he said, "but you don't have to do it alone." That sentence stayed in her mind the whole way back. The next morning, she arrived at the shop carrying something wrapped in cloth. Cole raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" "My answer," she said. She unwrapped it, revealing a beautifully crafted power tool, something between a cutter and a drill, but far more advanced. "I invented this before my mate passed," she explained. "We planned to sell them together, but after he died, I locked it away." Cole picked it up, amazed. "This is brilliant." "It's yours," she said. "If I'm going to be your partner, we build from here." Cole stared at her in surprise, then nodded. "Welcome to the team, Yllari." They shook hands. No long speeches, no grand promises, just two workers ready to create something new. For the first time in many cycles, Yllari smiled, an honest, real smile. Something was changing, and it had only just begun. The next few days moved quickly for Yllari. The repair shop, once quiet and dusty, was now full of sound, buzzing tools, moving machines, and the soft rhythm of hard work. She arrived early each morning and left late each evening, her hands never idle. Cole was happy. Their repairs were faster, neater, and stronger than before. He didn't hide his pride. "Since you came, we've done more business than I've had in 2 cycles, he told her while installing a new engine core. "Customers are starting to ask for you by name." Yllari didn't answer, but she felt something strange inside, warm and steady. It had been so long since anyone respected her work. One afternoon, a trader from a nearby cargo fleet walked in with a half-destroyed gravity generator. "If you two fix this, I'll tell my whole crew about your shop," he promised. Yllari opened the panel and quickly studied the burnt circuits. "We'll have it ready by morning," she said calmly. The man raised an eyebrow. Not even the Drenari tech shops could promise that. Cole grinned. "She's better than all of them." After the customer left, Cole turned to her. "Maybe we should design our own line of tools, something new. With your knowledge and my connections, we could build something the whole station needs." Yllari was quiet, but the idea took root in her mind. That night, while cleaning the shop's side room, she found an old storage crate filled with spare parts. With care and precision, she began working on a new prototype, a universal coupling device for faster machine repairs. She stayed late. Cole walked by, saw her focused expression, and didn't disturb her. He simply watched for a moment, then nodded to himself. "She belongs here," he whispered. But success didn't go unnoticed. One evening, someone broke into the workshop. Yllari and Cole arrived the next morning to find broken tools, damaged machines, and deep scratches on the work tables. A container of rare parts had been stolen, the prototype Yllari was building, gone. Cole stared at the mess, jaw tight. This wasn't a simple theft. Yllari looked around carefully. Her eyes stopped on the wall near the supply shelf. There was a symbol scratched into the metal, a Drenari warning mark. She froze. This was a message. From my people. Cole stepped beside her. "They don't want you working with a human?" She nodded slowly. "They think I've betrayed them. A widow isn't supposed to create, only mourn. That's ridiculous." "It's their way," she said, voice low. Cole shook his head. "Well, it's a broken way. You've built more in 2 weeks than most do in a lifetime." He grabbed his datapad. "I'm reporting this to station security." But Yllari stopped him. They won't care. The Drenari hold power on this level. They will protect their own. Cole frowned. So what do we do? Just let them walk in and tear down everything we built? Yalari looked down, her fists clenched. No, we rebuild, and we don't hide. They worked harder than ever. Cole replaced the stolen parts using his emergency funds. Yalari recreated the missing prototype from memory, improving it further. They added simple security systems to the shop and installed a backup lock. Despite the fear in her heart, Yalari didn't stop. She pushed forward, and their shop grew even more popular. A week later, a message arrived from the station council. A request to present their new coupling device at the upcoming tech exhibition. Cole was shocked. This is huge. If we get approved, we could supply the entire station. But Yalari didn't smile. The council hall includes Drenari leaders, she said. Will they block you? They might try. But if I don't stand in front of them, I'll always be the coward widow they believe I am. Cole looked at her carefully. Then we go together. You're not alone in this. She nodded, though worry filled her eyes. The day of the exhibition arrived. The council chamber was large and cold, its walls high and smooth like a temple. Rows of alien officials and engineers watched from raised seats. Each inventor was given 10 minutes to present their design. Yalari stood beside Cole as their turn came. She wore simple working clothes, her tools hanging from her belt. Her chin was raised, her steps steady. Whispers filled the air the moment she stepped forward. The Drenari delegates in the corner stiffened. Some narrowed their eyes. Cole did most of the speaking, explaining how the device worked and how it could reduce repair times across the station. Then he turned to Yalari. She's the real mind behind this, he said, stepping back. Yalari stepped up and took a breath. I was told that widows should mourn and stay quiet, she said clearly. But machines do not care about tradition. They care about hands that understand them. I am one of those hands. She held up the device. This can help thousands. It was not built by shame. It was built by skill. The room was silent for a moment. Then one of the human counselors leaned forward. We approve this design for full station use. Cheers broke out from several booths. Some Drenari remained quiet, but others looked thoughtful. After the meeting, a young Drenari engineer approached her privately. My sister's a widow. She hides in our home, afraid to step outside. Today, you made me think differently. Yalari looked at him. Then tell her she's allowed to build again. He nodded and left. Cole joined her with a wide grin. You didn't just present a device, you opened minds. She looked around at the crowd, some smiling, some silent, and finally felt the weight in her chest ease just a little. The past had not vanished, but the future had begun. The workshop was busier than ever. Orders poured in from different parts of the station. Dock engineers, cargo ship crews, and even space mining teams started using the coupling tool Yalari had helped design. Cole worked with a big smile. We're building more than machines now, he said. We're building something people trust. Yalari nodded, though a part of her still stayed alert. She had seen how quickly people could change, from silent watchers to attackers. But for now, the peace felt real. One evening, while checking new messages on the shop's terminal, Cole's expression darkened. We've been summoned by the station council again, he said. Yalari's eyes narrowed. Why? No reason given. Just a formal request to appear tomorrow morning. Her heart sank. She had stood in that chamber before. The council had accepted their invention, but many of the Drenari leaders had watched her with cold silence. She wasn't sure they had let it go. Cole placed a calm hand on her shoulder. We'll face it together, whatever it is. The next day they arrived at the council hall. The room was quiet and formal. Yalari stood beside Cole, both dressed in clean work clothes. Around them, delegates of different species watched silently. The lead speaker, a tall alien named Director Varnell, looked down at them from the upper seat. Cole Marcus, Yalari of Drenari. This council has reviewed recent reports of sabotage, rising tensions, and cultural violations connected to your repair business. Yalari's chest tightened. She had expected this. Varnell continued. Your workshop has brought great benefit to the station. Your devices are used in over 30 sectors. However, there are concerns raised, specifically from the Drenari delegation. An elder Drenari male stood up. His voice was calm, but sharp. Yalari has broken the bold ways. She exposes her name in public. She works side by side with a human. She speaks in chambers where her place is silence. We do not accept her actions as honorable. Cole stepped forward before Yalari could speak. Excuse me, Counsel, but what part of her actions were dishonorable? She repaired what others threw away. She brought tools that made the station safer. If that's not honorable, then I don't know what is. A low murmur passed through the chamber. Another delegate, a young human woman, stood and spoke. Respectfully, Counsel, we cannot measure value based on tradition alone. I've seen her work. It's brilliant. This station needs more minds like hers. Varnell raised a hand for silence. Yalari, do you wish to speak? Yalari stepped forward. Her voice was calm. I did not choose to be a widow. I did not choose to be shunned. But I chose to keep living. I chose to keep building. That should not be punished. The Drenari elder frowned. You act like a creator, but you do so under a human's roof. I act like myself, she replied. It was a human who gave me the space to grow. My own people turned away. The room went silent. Then Varnell leaned back. This council will not punish a citizen for bringing improvement to the station. However, we suggest mediation between the Drenari community and this business. Cole crossed his arms. Mediation or pressure to make her stop? We offer discussion, not orders, Varnell replied. But if the conflict spreads, it could affect business permits and safety regulations. Yalari understood what he meant. The council didn't want trouble. They were giving her a choice: step back or prepare for more problems. After the hearing, Yalari and Cole returned to the shop. I don't want to lose what we built, Cole said, but I also don't want you to keep getting attacked or threatened. I'm not going to stop, Yalari said firmly. If I give up now, they win. I have lived in silence long enough. Cole nodded. Then we keep going. But we do it. Smart. He upgraded the shop's security, installed stronger locks, and even connected to the station's backup power to keep their systems safe. The next day, Yalari made a bold decision. She opened a second workshop unit just down the hall. It had her name on the door, Yalari Systems. Some Drenari stopped to stare. Others whispered. But she kept working. Weeks passed. One afternoon, a small group of young Drenari visited the shop. One of them, a girl barely into adulthood, held a damaged toolkit. Can you teach me how to fix this? She asked shyly. Yalari was surprised. Where is your family? They don't know I'm here, the girl said. But I heard what you did. My mother's also a widow. She said your name. I want to learn. Yalari looked at Cole. He gave a small nod. Come inside, Yalari said. Let's fix it together. The next day, 2 more came, then 5. Some were Drenari. Some were other species. All wanted to learn. The workshop became more than just a business. It became a place for those who had nowhere else to go. But trouble still waited. Late one night, Yalari stayed alone in the shop, finishing repairs. A shadow appeared at the door. It was the Drenari elder from the council. You defy us still, he said. I build, she replied. That is not defiance. He looked at her with a deep stare. You're changing things that were never meant to change. She stood up. Then maybe they were broken. The elder was silent for a moment. Then he turned and left without another word. She watched him disappear into the hallway. Her hands trembled, but she didn't sit down. She picked up the tool she had dropped and got back to work. Because she wasn't just building machines anymore. She was rebuilding herself. The days grew brighter for Yalari. The repair shop buzzed with life. More customers came every day, and her reputation grew beyond the station's lower decks. Cole smiled often now. Look at this place. From empty corners to the busiest shop on the block. Yalari smiled back, but her thoughts were deeper. She was no longer just a widow shunned by her people. She was a creator, a teacher, a partner. One morning, the station council sent an official invitation. Yalari Systems and Marcus Repairs, the message read, are invited to enter a partnership with the station's main supply center. Your technology and skills will help upgrade every dock and workshop across the station. Cole showed the message to her with wide eyes. This is the big time. Yalari nodded, but inside she felt calm. She had earned this moment. At the partnership signing ceremony, the council hall was filled with aliens of all kinds. Some faces were familiar, some were new. Yalari stood beside Cole as the council leader signed the agreement. This partnership is a sign of trust and change, the leader said. It shows that skill and courage can break old barriers. The room applauded. Among the crowd, a few Drenari stood quietly watching. One of them was the young engineer who had spoken to Yalari in the council chamber weeks ago. He stepped forward. Yalari, he said, my people still remember old ways, but you have given us a new path. For that we thank you. Yalari bowed her head respectfully. I only want to help. After the ceremony, many came to congratulate her. Some gave gifts. Some asked questions about her tools and designs. For the first time, Yalari felt accepted. That night, she and Cole sat outside the shop, looking at the stars visible through the station's open skylight. You've changed a lot, Cole said softly. From lonely widow to respected leader, she laughed quietly. I never thought I would be either. He looked at her. What do you want now? She paused, watching a small shuttle fly by. I want to build more, to teach more, to live without fear. Cole nodded. And you will. The next weeks were filled with work and growth. Yalari trained new apprentices, many of whom were widows or outcasts like her. She taught them to build, to repair, and to believe in themselves. The workshop became a community. Her old fears didn't disappear overnight, but each day they grew smaller. One afternoon, a young Drenari woman came to the shop with her mother, a widow who had not left her home in years. Yalari welcomed them warmly and showed them around. The mother's eyes filled with tears. You have given us hope, she whispered. Yalari squeezed her hand. We build together now. Months passed and the station changed. Yalari's story spread, how a widow who was shunned by all became a creator who changed the lives of many. Her old enemies stayed silent or left the station. The younger generation learned from her example. She no longer wore the mark of shame but the badge of respect. And most importantly, she was no longer alone. One evening, as the sun dimmed beyond the station's windows, Cole walked in carrying a small box. He handed it to Yalari. For you. Inside was a finely crafted tool, engraved with the symbol of the Drenari clan. Only this time it was surrounded by human symbols, joining two worlds. It's a sign, Cole said, that you belong here, with me, with all of us. Yalari smiled, tears shining in her eyes. Thank you. She looked around at the busy shop, her shop, and knew this was her home. The story ends with Yalari standing at the workshop's entrance, looking out over the bustling station. She was no longer a lonely widow. She was a creator, a leader, a symbol of hope. And her life had truly changed, because one human had seen her value when no one else would.